Right, cool. So here we are. This is episode 8 of the Tennessee Titans UK Fans podcast. Today it's just myself and James, as David isn't able to join us. James, thank you for joining us once again for the podcast. Are you okay?
Yes, doing well, thank you.
Good. Nice and positive. So obviously we'll get straight into it. We're going to try to be as positive as we can again. I think we're going to be saying that a lot this season. So obviously we lost 41-20 to the Colts yesterday. It was a bit of a kicking, I think. Um, my initial thoughts on the game, I think there was some positives. You know, Cam Ward, we said this last week, Cam Ward is quite definitely the franchise quarterback. I think he's got it. He just needs the team around him to get going. But obviously the game, I mean, there's quite a bit to talk about today, isn't there, about the game, really? It was a very frustrating watch. The Colts, fairness still, they look good. Daniel Jones, quarterback, looks quite impressive. Um, but I don't think the Colts even got out of second gear, to be honest with you. I think they kind of ripped us apart a little bit. Um, what are your thoughts on the game, James? Kind of, I know there's quite a bit to talk about here. I think the offense is quite good. I think going forward, apart from the fact Ridley can't catch, hopefully that's just a combination of him trying to link better with Ward, and it's just them trying to get a connection that might change. Obviously the defense wasn't that good, was it? So, what are your thoughts on the game from last night?
I
Be
mean, I,
positive. Be positive.
I don't know even what I can say that's positive, to be fair. I mean, the if I'm going to go into the nitty and gritty and try and really hard to think of some positives, is we looked okay second half. We scored two touchdowns. Um, Ironmanner and Ward seem to have a good relationship. So that's a positive, I think. Ward does look good in situations, but I mean, he just got off to the worst possible start, didn't it? The game.
Oh, yeah. When he threw it, was it 51 seconds in and he caught it? He just thought, yeah, you know, you know, I'm not going to mention the quarterbacks. I get in trouble for doing that. But just throw it out of play. Just do something. Just do. I mean, this is the problem with a rookie quarterback. You're going to get this, aren't you? Where we are going to see mistakes, and we're gonna have to ride with it for a little bit and iron out those mistakes. And to be fair to him, on the second drive, he was really good, and it was like that's what we wanted with the first drive. So hopefully with Ward, it's just going to be a case of we've got to iron these issues out. It's a big jump up from college football to the NFL. So we are going to get these problems, and it is going to happen, and it's going to be a case of how he reacts and how the team reacts to those mistakes. We need we need these mistakes to happen now before we win the Super Bowl next season, because quite clearly this season I think we're going to fall just short by a little tiny margin, which I think you'd probably agree we're just not going to make it this year. But next year is going to be a different story. I mean, yeah, apart from Ward, because I think every week now for the next um 13, 14 weeks we've got left, I think we're going to say each week Ward is good. Who else stood out for you in the games yesterday that made you thought, well, that guy's got something good about him and he's got a future in Nashville?
That's a tough one, though, isn't it? Really. Let's be honest. The rookies are doing well. The rookies are playing really well. We haven't seen much of Winston yet. He hasn't even played yet. Femi, I'm going to give him his due. For me, I'm not expecting anything. He's playing a new position from what he was doing for his whole career. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt for this year. I'm not expecting great things for him. Hopefully, we'll see something towards the end of the season when he starts to hopefully progress a bit more, understands his role more than the team. But the rest, Ward, he's a better, as you said, we know he's a getter better, but he's thrown for more yards, got another touchdown. Again, he's thrown to the receivers who are dropping it. So a lot of it's not on him. I will put him at fault for a couple of the sacks, holding on to too long, running into pressure, not getting away, giving the ball away. I think there's one time we had a good play to Jefferson and Cam snapped the ball too quickly. He didn't let Jefferson set. And these are the things that he's gonna learn to control. I guess it's the anxiety or the adrenaline kicking in. He wants to get it done. he he probably wants to get the snap off as quickly as possible because he knows he's going to get smashed in like in 5 seconds. So he just wants to get the play done and out the way. So little things like that. But Iron Mano's doing well. Dyke's playing well. I'm
Yeah,
glad he's
Doc's
been
really good,
involved.
isn't he?
Every time he gets the ball, you think something's going to happen. It's
He looks quite
which
explosive, doesn't he? He's got
yeah,
he's got that drive. He's not kind of looking around. He's like head down when he runs with it, head down, runs with it, and he wants to do something. He wants to push himself, which is quite good. And he's got his confidence in his own ability to do it. He's not second guessing himself. He's just playing his game, which is what you want to see, isn't it?
yeah. And I think he was unlucky with the touchdown. So if he just led with his other arm, it would have been a touchdown. Rather, he went with the arm
Mm.
without the ball. He knocked the pylon first, so he was unlucky with that. What was he? He took 4 receptions or 4 targets. So he's been targeted a bit more in offense, which is nice to see that he's being used a bit more. Helm again, solid.
Yeah, I thought
He's
Helm looked
not-
good yesterday. He looked like say solid. I think is the best way to describe his performance yesterday. I thought he looked like he's kind of getting into the NFL now, isn't he? Kind of just he's getting a few more balls and he looked quite strong. I thought yesterday.
Yeah, I think he's been a bit more of a safety blanket for Ward. Chig's who said Chig was probably our best receiver yesterday, and I'm sure there was a play where he held up the Colts' best edge rusher, and he held him for a good amount of time, which for a tight end is incredible. So I think he's getting better. We just need a better blocking. The one thing I will say, I know everyone's going to slate the O line, but Peter Skoronski is having a Pro Bowl year. If he doesn't get selected, I know it's only been 3 games, but I don't think he's given up a pressure or a sack yet in 3 games. He is the only good thing we have about that offensive line at the moment. So I will, when I'm mentioning rookies, I will mention Skoronski. He is a stud of a player. I just wish we could build
Something around him and
something around him, which the plan was to build around him, but we're not really doing much with that. But
no.
I will give
Yes.
someone on the O line their dues.
So go on then. So we'll take again. We'll take Ward out of the equation here. You know, who was your? I wouldn't say man of the match because I know people like to use player of the matches, but who was your man of the match yesterday? Who? If you were to give a man of the match award at the end of that game, who would you give that to yesterday? The fans who stayed the full game, the full four
Yeah,
quarters.
yeah,
It was getting
um,
quite empty, wasn't it?
yeah. I'll probably be a bit boring and give it to. Do you know what? Actually, I'll give it to Chig. I thought he did really well yesterday. He was targeted 6 times, caught 5, got some good yardage, led the team in receiving yards. I'll give it to him, which is it's just hard because I know Ayamana got another touchdown. Uh, yeah, it's a split. It's a difficult one, but I'm literally giving
It's,
it
it's,
just
it's
because.
hard with a poor performance. You're kind of clutching at
Yeah,
straws. The little bits they did do good.
yeah,
I know that obviously there's a lot of negatives. It was a hard watch, and I could understand the guys in Nashville watching in the stadium found it quite a difficult game to watch as well. But I mean, we scored 20 points. On another day, 20 points is enough to win a game. We do see quite a few low scoring games in NFL now. I mean, so there are positives there. Going forward, we got 2 touchdowns. What's the kicker's name again? Style, is
slow,
it? I mean,
slow.
he's good. I mean, there was 57 yards he got one from yesterday. Was it 57 yards? He's not my notes. I'm sure he got one 57 yards yesterday. So we've got a kicker, which is quite good, but we don't want to be relying on kicks. And obviously, talking about kicks, what was your opinion on the 57 yard that became the 62-yard kick? When we had the Colts timeout. We then had the Titans timeout because we didn't know what we were doing. And you could see from the cameras, Ward was kind of tapping his ear, looking at the helmet and looking around, didn't know what was going on. And then we ended up with a 5-yard penalty and it turned from a 57 field goal attempt to 62. I mean, if there's any frustration anywhere, that was the moment I think yesterday that maybe turned a lot of people against Callahan, I think, and upset a lot of people. What are your thoughts on what happened there? Do you think that was just lack of management from the guys, or do you think just yeah? yeah, I don't know what to make of it. To me, it's poor management and poor decision making from the coaches. You thinking the same on that?
Yeah, as you said, it's decision making. It's that should never happen. The way the game was going, 4-1, we should just run. We should have just made a run like a quarterback sneak. Tush push, as everyone keeps like banging on
Mm.
about. We should have done something to the game was we were chasing the game. We needed to do something. That would be my initial plan to do. And I don't see why that took so long to process it. If you're going to go with the field goal as well, just it shouldn't be too long to decide. Um, and then when you get the penalty, it's a no-brainer. Just punt it because if you punt it, we're in their half. We get them backed up right into their but up to their end zone. Like we'll put them right the way back, and they've got to drive. And you think it's yeah, we weren't great yesterday, but we made them punt, which is a positive.
Well,
We
yeah,
were
I
the
mean
first team to ever make
that
the
to
Colts
me
punt.
was a victory yesterday. To be fair, if I was the Colts, I wouldn't have punted it. I'd have
Yeah,
just played it and give up field position. If they were that confident in beating us, I'd have been like, do you know what? We're not going to punt it. We're not going to give you that. We're going to play it and we'll give the ball up. Whatever. We're not going to punt it to you. I'd have done that just out of pure spite, I think personally. But yeah, I think the decisiveness with it, yeah, it worries me when you see coaches who don't just say like this is the plan. This is what we're going to go for. And he's starting to second guess himself, possibly Callahan or the other coaches that they're second guessing what they're trying to do. And when they start doing things like that, it's dangerous because you know football games can be won in a moment. That decision is winning and losing can happen like that. And then we're dawdling. We've had two timeouts, and then we had a penalty, and we still just didn't get it right. And it's like, I know the pressure's on, and no matter what decision he'd have made, if he'd have made the decision to go for it, people would have moaned. He went for the field goal, people moaned. But I think when people see that he's dawdling and not making the decisions, I think that makes people even more angry. You'd rather the coach had said, right, this is what we're going with. And if he gets it wrong, so be it. But the fact that he kind of dawdled on it, and you can see Cam Ward, he's a rookie quarterback, and even he was struggling to work out what was going on. It's like, well, we don't want that to happen. We want decisive actions. So I think that could be one of Callahan's issues. Now,
I don't. I just don't think he's not play called before, and I think he's just in a sense out of his depth. Whether he's just a good guy at developing quarterbacks, um, whether that's his forte. It's not play calling. It's not decision making. The things he's done, he doesn't know the rules. His decisions on being backed up in our own end zone and then just with the clock before half time in I think it was the first game and he just kept doing run plays. So he doesn't even know how, it doesn't even have clock management. It's like he doesn't even know the rules that when you run the ball, the clock. uh, It just no, sorry, it wasn't. It was the run play. He was doing three passes where the clock stops. You just run the ball three times and you just drain that clock down. It's things that Vrabel was really good at was clock management and knowing when
mm,
to do things. We just don't have that experience. And in my mind, I feel that they need to have this conversation with him. And if he's a great head coach, if he can develop Cam Ward, if he can develop these rookies, be a head coach, but give up offensive coordinator
well,
duties.
that's it
The
because
problem with that
he's
is
got to get right, hasn't he?
our offensive coordinators never called plays as well. So we end up having no one that can call plays. But just give it up. Let him be the head coach. Let him do his head coach stuff, but let the plays be called by someone else because he needs to. He's not. Our schemes and our play calling in the games and the clock management in games. It's just awful, and that's the most frustrating thing. I came out of the game yesterday or after watching it just, and it's the first time I've ever sat there and gone. I just want him gone. I just want him gone. There's no. I don't see a way that it gets better. It's just if he's going to stick with it, it's boring, but it's boring play calling, and there's nothing exciting. You got a young quarterback, like use it, do flashy stuff. Like we've got no trick plays or anything. Titans were renowned for having trick plays, and
Mm.
now we don't have anything, and it's which is very bland football.
And the
So I
thing
just
is, I mean, okay, with a rookie quarterback, we know we're not going to go and win the Super Bowl this year. Although we all, at the start of the season, were confident we'd go 17-0, win and get into the Super Bowl playoffs and win it. But, there has to be an element of being realistic where, okay, it's not going to happen. We've lost the first three games. And do you know what? Just go for it. There's no harm. I always look at like soccer matches. You see England play Andorra and they put 11 men behind the ball and they lose 2-0. And I'm thinking, well, that's no good for that team to be sitting there defending for the whole game. Go out, do your bit, have your style of play, do what you want to do. Because the odds are, okay, you're going to lose anyway. But if you're going to lose trying, lose making an effort, lose doing something different, be creative, have some ideas. You may as well go for it, have a bit, have a bit of fun at the same time. Now, if we'd lost 41-20, and we can call back to all these moments where all these trick plays and special plays all kind of fell short just at the end, but it was exciting to watch. You'd go away from the game thinking, okay, well, we lost, but it was exciting. There's a way to lose in sport. You know, I'd rather lose, let's say in soccer terms, I'd rather lose 5-3 in an exciting game where it's end to end than lose 2-0 and sit back and defend. Try, like I say, try be creative. We've got a young quarterback, we've got all these rookies, we've got a young team. Try push them, see what they can do. Because and then you can build on that. But we're not doing that, are we? Like I say, it's quite boring conservative play. He doesn't know the
I think
rules.
he's got to. I think I know we'll come on to the next game, but for me, where the division is at the moment, where both teams are on 0-3, and against Houston at Houston, before we go and play the Patriots and play Mike Vrabel, this is the time that he's got to come out. If he still has a job,
He will.
I sit there and say I want him to go, but I think it'd be more. There's no point unless someone. I just don't. It might as well just stick with him until the end of the season and then just make wholesale changes about
Oh,
the whole thing. But
I
that is
keep saying week 10 is by now where I think they're going to sack him. But after week 9, um we've got our bye week. So I'm thinking now it's going to be bad up until we play the Chargers at Nissan Stadium, and I think we'll have the bye week, and I think during the bye week will be the moment they pull the trigger. If they pull the trigger, because I think that'll be the point where they'll say, right, let's have a bit of time out, and we'll have the last 7 games with an interim coach. That's my thought process. I've been known to be wrong if you keep seeing my predictions about the Titans winning each week, so there's a good chance I'm going to get this wrong as well. But I think week 10 will be the point where I'll have a different coach in place potentially. That's if the Titans do pull the trigger. I mean, it, you saw the story yesterday with the wide receiver. I can't remember his name now. For the Colts came out and he said they knew before the game that the Titans weren't up for it. That's worrying. That before the game, when the players are arriving, that the Colts in their changing room are all saying to themselves, we've got this because the Titans aren't interested. That is a concern, isn't it? That says to me either the players don't want to play for Callahan and the coaching team, or that says to me that he's coaching them that badly that they're not interested. I mean, what are your thoughts on those comments that came out yesterday?
it's just. I mean,
It's worrying, isn't
it
it?
is worrying, and the problem is it's just the same things. It's our players don't. They're not. They're not pumped for the game, and especially a game that's that's so very American. That's so very much like like ego. The NFL and our players aren't showing that is awful. It stems through penalties. Like players aren't like we give up so many penalties. The players aren't listening or aren't being coached, or there's no fallout from these penalties, so they're not getting
Mm.
fixed. Like
Or
if you're a
or
defensive
they're
line,
just these players aren't good enough. And then you have
but
to
you're
look
not good
further
enough,
on
drop
of
them.
who's signed them. But yeah, it's
Drop them to the bench. We've got a rookie guard, I think it was that we picked up in the thing. Bring him in, swap them out. Then if they're not good enough, they're giving up penalties. Then drop them. They'll learn, and then you start that mentality built within the team that if you're not good enough, if you make mistakes, you're going to get dropped.
well, that's it. Just because you're that best player in that position shouldn't guarantee you. starting spot if you keep making mistakes. If you've got somebody who's on the reserves who can come in, may not be as good, but they're going to work twice as hard to stay in the position. They're going to get better or improve. Or that's the thought process, isn't it? You've got to give. There's got to be repercussions for the mistakes, and it makes you wonder. Like I say, are they making these mistakes, and are the coaches just, oh, okay, it's fine, let them get on with it, and that's not the culture you want to create, is it?
No, I just think there's you just need to. We're in the middle of a rebuild, so there's no point. Like, what we got to worry about with these players. In my personal opinion, Ridley's old and he's going to get towards the end. He's probably not. We're overpaying on him and Sneed. If we could get a little trade for them two, even if it's for low picks, I'd take it because there's no need for it. I can't. Restrepo really can't be that bad that Ridley's
Mm.
keeping out the team. Like I know they sit there and you go, oh well, we're paying 90 million for Ridley, and he's our best wide receiver, so you've got to play him. But he's not showing that. He's getting outperformed by rookies. I would rather just lose him and play Restrepo and just see how it works because it can't get any worse.
Well,
Well, Ridley
exactly,
had
yeah.
the most targeted player yesterday was Ridley, and he caught one. And a lot of them were really bad drops in and out of his hands. Some of them were good passes. The Colts did have play a good defense. They stopped our run. They broke up a lot of plays.
Problem is that
But
we can't keep saying each week that these teams are having a good defense. They're stopping us from playing. But in the same breath, we've got to have a good defense. We've got to stop them from playing. So they can stop us. Why can't we stop them? You know, their tactics are obviously better than ours, and they're attacking more. And it's like, well, why can't we do what they're doing? Are we that bad? It's frustrating, isn't it? We're being outcoached each week, aren't we? Outcoached and outplayed, which is frustrating.
yeah, the thing is when you look at the tail of the tape, as they call it, they got 365 yards. We got 282. So you weren't blown away with the difference. They got 80 more yards. That's one
They
essentially one drive,
Well,
really.
that's it. They just capitalised on each of their drives, didn't they? They
Penalty
took advantage.
penalties we lost out. They got four, which is roughly about I think they say between 4 and 6 is like the league average. And they for 23 yards, we gave away 8 for 68 yards. Turnovers only one turnover. We won time of possession. We had more of the ball than they did. We just it's just penalties breaking up plays and I say silly things. It's I don't know what the thing is. Like passing yards, which I mean I didn't. I will admit it got to about 10 minutes before the game, and I just swapped over to the Green Bay game. Wife being a Green Bay fan, we watched that, which was also another depressing end. But looking at the end, it's like passing yards, 228 for the Colts, 219 for the Titans.
Yeah.
I
So
I mean, I called it from the very beginning. I called it before the game that the one thing we've got to do is stop their run game. And we didn't stop their run game. And I'm very, in a sense, slightly happy because one of my fantasy teams, I have Jonathan Taylor. And so he got me loads of points. But I said it from the very beginning. We got to tackle him. We got to stop the run game. And with Sweat out, I just felt we had there was no stopping it. We didn't get barely any pressure on the quarterback. And when we did get pressure on the quarterback, we didn't make the tackle. It was so many broken tackles and just not wrapping our arms around the players, not tackling properly. We're just leading with the shoulder and they're just bouncing off our players.
mm,
It just and that for me is just all stems from coaching. You're just not coaching them properly. And the thing
now,
is, I sit there, they're all pros. They should know how to do it by now.
well,
But for
exactly.
some reason they're not. And they should be this stuff should be drummed into them time and time and time again, but it's not.
You just mentioned Sweat being out. Now, it was weird how he was kind of touch and go. Was he going to make the game or not? Then suddenly he got put on IR, missing the next 4 games, and you're like, hang on, we're kind of thinking he might be playing here, and then suddenly he's out for four. Do you find that a bit weird? Do you reckon that was? I know the Titans now. I know it was said recently that they're now not giving out their injury list until the other team do theirs, so they're doing their second now. Do you think that was a bit of a gamesmanship by the Titans, or trying to play the game of, oh yeah, he might play, but then suddenly he's out for 4 games, or do you think that's bad management, or yeah, what are your thoughts on that? That just seemed weird how he was. in line maybe to play, maybe not. Then now he's out for a month.
I I could see the why if it was they're doing it because he is our biggest threat to stopping the run. And so they might have thought with the Colts being a rely quite heavily on their run game that you'd think that it might have changed their way of thinking about things,
Mm.
but I just don't. I always sit there. If he's injured, he's injured. Like they'll either readjust their game and then work out when he's not there that they can run the ball. Like all these coaches can think on the well, apart from ours, but these coaches can think on the move. Like they would sit there and notice that Sweat's not there and be like, okay, right, we can just run the ball now.
Well,
So I don't
exactly.
think
So,
any
and
advantage
knowing
to
that he may or may not have been fit, they'd been planning either way. So they would have already had a plan that would he be playing or not. So they'd have had a plan A and plan B. So leaving it as late as they did to put him on IR just seemed a bit weird. But obviously, you mentioned the Texans, which is coming up. Is that 6 o'clock kickoff? Is it again? I'm sitting in the dark here. I can't see a thing here. Oh no, the Texans is a 9 o'clock kickoff UK time, I think. So late one. So it's going to be late night. Maybe for some, so I might turn the TV off. So both teams 0-3. Do you think this is going to be like a 6-9 thriller with the kickers who are going to go for it, or do we think we're going to see both teams going for it, being a divisional game as well?
it is a 6 o'clock kickoff, by the way.
It was six, is it?
Um, yeah, it's
Oh, hang on. See, I'm sitting in the dark here. This is really bad. But no, I was looking at the Cardinals game. That's a 9 kickoff one. So okay, so 6 o'clock kickoff. That's good. So yeah, we can stay up and watch the entire game then, and wish we never. So yeah, so next Sunday then, do you think it's going to be an entertaining game? Do you think, or do you think it could be that both teams that bad? We're just going to sit there and just watch them
I
go
think it's a
three and out
time,
constantly.
it's our probably our best chance to win a game. They're not playing that well. Stroud has regressed like dramatically. They've it's definitely our best chance. The We've just got to come out and play well. It depends obviously a lot of on who's injured, whether we can get JC Latham back. I think Brownlee was out, wasn't he? So if he can come back, it obviously depends on who's fit and who's not. But this is our probably our best chance. And I did say our season started at week 3, which I then
You meant
changed.
four, meant four.
I did change before the Colts game, but I definitely do. I'm going to stick with it this year. This time that our season starts this week. It's a must win game. Be good. I mean, at the end of the day, let's not pretend we're a good team just playing badly. We're a bad team. There's no way of sugarcoating it. We are a bad team. We're in a transition period. We're rebuilding. We do have some really good. We've had a really good draft, which is for a first. So we look, the future is bright, but we are still a bad team. But the Texans are also a bad team. So I'm not too overly. Now we've got Cam, I'm not overly fussed about the number one pick. So it's a game we should try and win, and
Well, see, that's it because
it's winnable.
you probably saw yesterday on the Facebook group. There was lots of comments in the game chat, and people do mention about next year's draft, which we don't want to be thinking about that. But at the end of the day, this is a professional sport. I know people can say, "Well, people play for the draft." You don't want to play for the draft. We want to see them win games. Even if they win 4 or 5 games this season. Um, that's wishful thinking at the moment, isn't it? But even if we win 4 or 5 games, we still want to see him win. We still want those moments. We don't want a team to go 17 and 0 out for the entire season. And you'd like to think the players and the coaches and the owners will want them to win these games as well. I mean, winning is a habit. If we can win on Sunday, who's to say we're not going to go on a run and win a few more games? And then momentum goes with us and things suddenly click and it all changes. Again, that's wishful thinking, I think, isn't it? But these guys train to win, no matter how bad they are. Well, so I'd like to think they're training to win. In any sport, you know, people want to win, no matter how bad they are. They're bottom of the table in any professional sport. Winning is what they're there to do. It's what they want to be doing. And if we, win that game in game four, and then it might just breed a bit of confidence in them. Cam's young quarterback. If he gets a few wins underneath him, because you see him on the pitch, you can see how vocal he is and how his mannerisms, and he's pushing the team forward. If we can get some wins, imagine what his confidence will be like with a few wins under his belt as well. He's just going to push onto the team, and it's going to push them forward. And he might even get Ridley catching the ball if there's a bit more confidence in the locker room. So you're right in what you're saying. We've got to win these games. I know. I mean, if you don't win all these games and you end up with a good draft pick, if we don't need the number one pick next season, let's just say worst case scenario we end up with number one pick again, which we don't want. You can then trade back and get some really good picks then. So there are positives for being bad in the NFL.
It's the only
But
sport I know that rewards being bad.
see,
So
I'd like what I'd like them to do. So let's say Titans season finishes in January. Right, it's a long time till September. What they should do is say, right, the bottom six teams, right, you're going to go in a little mini tournament, knockout competition. You know, draw teams out of a hat, and the winners go on to the next stage. And then, like midweek, they can have games in between the playoff games. It's like a losers' cup, really, isn't it?
basically,
The team,
it's the toilet bowl, isn't it? It's the toilet bowl.
yeah. I
The
mean, the
the
team that
worst
finished
of the winner
sixth
of the worst.
could push for the number one pick, and the really bad team. Let's see how bad they really are. If they really want that number one pick and win the tournament, and plus it would prolong the season by a couple of games. Because I mean, I know they always moan in the NFL there's not enough games, but what an opportunity to expand the season. Because the teams that win the Super Bowl go on and play an extra 3 or 4 games. So why can't the teams who don't go on to Super Bowl go on and play 3 or 4 bowl games extra as well? And then gives us extra football to watch, and it makes it a bit more exciting, a bit like with soccer, for example, the playoffs in soccer. This could be like a playoff. I know it's like a losers playoff, but some teams can have a really bad season and lose games on purpose to get the number one pick if they really want that player. It would stop that. And it might just make these teams a bit more competitive at the back end of the season. But we won't worry about that just yet, because obviously we're not at the back end of the season just yet. So we'll avoid that just for now. So what's your prediction for the Texans game? Go on, give me a scoreline. Be positive where you can.
I think I do think we'll win. I think we will have a really good game. That being said, is just because we are going up against a team that's not very good. So I think our defense would do well. I think our offense will click. I'm going to say we're going to score 27 points. That's my theory. I'm not going to predict what they're going to score. 27-14. Go on now.
Well, I'm going to go for 9-6 to the Titans. I think it's going to be a kicking game. I think both teams are going to be that bad. They're not going to cancel each other out. They're going to cancel themselves out, and it's going to go down to the kickers, I reckon. Very, very boring, very negative. So I want Cam to get some touchdowns. I love the fact they were saying yesterday on the commentary that Cam his preference is to throw the ball rather than like play it short and throw it long, which I like to see quarterbacks throw long than in 70-yard throws and they catch it. So I'd rather see that, but I think we're going to be quite conservative, and I think we're going to try scrape a victory, which would be good because it'd be nice for the Titans to try get a win. Now, another subject. I mentioned this the other day, and then I forgot all about it, and then somebody reminded me. I did ask if anyone's got any questions on the Facebook group, and I ended up with 3 questions because I had one asked about 5 o'clock today. So, do you want to go through these and see what we can get from this?
Yeah, go on then.
Go on then. So, Jacob Roberts, he was the first person to ask. He's actually a friend of mine. So he's asked, how did the Titans' off-season moves impact the overall team strategy? That's assuming we had strategy. So what are your thoughts on that?
It was a very. I don't really think we had any strategy behind it. I think it was just picking the best available players. For we had a lot of holes that need to be filling. We still have a lot of holes that need to be filled. I think we've got 2 great steals in the fourth round with Dyke and Ayamana.
Yeah, because they're
So
really good, aren't they?
that they have shown really well. At the end of the day, that we went into the season. I know I respect your positivity. However, I went into the season thinking it's a rebuild. We still need two or three more drafts before we're ready to be
Mm.
competitive.
Well, that's it. And like I say, with the draft, I think it was just a case of, like I say, filling gaps, getting the right players in to develop in those positions, and then have another draft and get more players in to fill in the other positions, wasn't it? So,
Yeah, I was unsure about this second round pick with, as I say, with strategy. We needed a quarter. The main things we needed was a quarterback, edge rusher, and wide receivers. Now we got a quarterback, happy with that. Easy, all about the Cam Ward hype. The wide receivers we took a little punt at, and they've actually shown to be quite good.
mm,
So that's all well and good. The second and third round picks, the second round pick being Femi, that's just that seems like a rebuild kind of draft pick. Like we don't know if he's going to be good. He's got no proven prospects of being good in that position. It's a let's just go with it. He could be really good. The stats say he could be really good, but again, it's a could be. Same with Winston, is he was injured, another injured player. So I feel like we've got two players that we're still yet to see the best from. So I
well, that's
think
it. And
it's
it's going to
definitely a
take time, isn't
rebuild.
it?
It's definitely set us up for the rebuild. But I feel like we're little bit further ahead in that rebuild than we
Mm,
were at the beginning of the season, just because of how well Dyke and Iron Manor have been and Helm. So I quite rate our draft this
right.
year.
So there was two more questions. I'm being quick here because we've only got 3 minutes left. So Matt James did ask, would we prefer another early pick in the draft or see some more wins? Obviously, we discussed that a few minutes ago that we want to see more wins, and the number one draft pick isn't really that important at the moment. So I think we've covered that one as well. But Kevin Lee did ask, and now I didn't see this because obviously maybe in America they saw it more or on the ground. He's talking about booing at Mike Keith's Ring of Honor at half time. And obviously, I think that's probably more, obviously not for Mike Keith, for the owners and the coaches. Um, he's asking, does that have an impact? Um, do you think that was bad that they booed during that Ring of Honor?
Yeah, I mean everyone loves him, don't they? Really, I
Mm.
think it's just frustration, isn't it? It's just frustration.
Yeah, it's frustration boiling over, isn't it?
I've listened to some people talk about it today, and it's just the fans are making themselves heard. At the end of the day, we get a new stadium in 2027. We need to have a better prospect for 2027.
Mm.
Like we need to have something that's going to sell seats in a new stadium. And whatever's going at the moment, people aren't happy with. We're making the wrong decisions. Wrong decisions from coaching levels, in game decisions to even their
Just
hires.
everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
It just seems like a bit of a mess
The only thing
from top to bottom, isn't it?
the Donald Wilson, I think was a good. It was a good hire. Callahan at the time I thought was amazing just because of how he developed quarterbacks and we looked like we're going to pick a quarterback, but he's just not good. We're just not making the right decisions. And although they should fans have the right to boo. It's the end of the day they're the ones that are paying the money.
Well, that's it. It's
Maybe
good money as
the
well, isn't it?
timing of it wasn't quite right, especially when someone's getting a being honoured for what they've done. They contributed to the Titans.
Mm.
But at the same time, fans need to make their preference. It's just maybe it's down to timing, and I think that it was just considering how the game went. I think it's just hostilities with just want to show they're
Especially the end
different.
of that half where we should have been scoring 3 points ourselves, and we literally handed the Colts another 3 points, didn't we? It's like, what are we doing here? This should be our 3 points. But look, we're down to the last 60 seconds, so I'll try not. I keep rushing these off at the end because I lose the timer when I do this. So, James, once again, thanks for joining me. We're going to be positive. We're going to come out next Sunday. We're going to smash it, hopefully. Obviously, thanks for doing the Facebook post yesterday with the game thread. I think that went quite well yesterday. I think I had over 100 comments on there yesterday, so that was
Yeah,
quite a
lots of
positive
people.
that we were doing that. So I think that's going to be good going forward. Right, so we'll leave it there, and we'll speak again probably next Monday, and we'll see what happens. Thanks for joining me,
Yeah,
James.
thank you very much. Bye bye.
Cheers.